At the Umeå laboratory at Umeå University, we investigate motion patterns in the short and the long term after anterior cruciate ligament injury. Our research shows reduced balance more than 20 years after unilateral ACL injury when compared to age and sex matched knee healthy controls. Here we have two examples of participants recorded using motion capture when performing the one-leg balance test. The person on the left suffered an ACL injury more than 20 years ago. The person on the right is a knee healthy control. In fact, over half of the ACL injured persons in our long-term follow-up could not stand on their injured leg for 30 seconds. This was regardless of whether surgical reconstruction was included in their treatment or not. The lack of balance wasn't only isolated to the injured leg, but was also the case for their non-injured leg. We have also developed new standardized tests to evaluate dynamic knee stability using motion capture. Here we have an example of the standardized rebound side hop test, on the left performed by a knee healthy athlete and on the right performed by a knee healthy control. The athlete has shorter contact time during the rebound phase and greater hip and knee flexion angles during both landings, despite presenting similar dynamic knee stability. Another test that we have developed is a novel double hop with an unanticipated change of direction that mimics sports situations implying an injury risk. This hop test is thought to eventually be transferred to the clinic. Immediately upon leaving the ground from the first forward hop, one of 3 final landing areas are illuminated to instruct the individual where to land from the second hop. This test has proven reliable both in asymptomatic athletes and individuals with ACL reconstruction. Fear of re-injury is a major cause for not returning to sports and is also associated with a higher risk of re-injury. We recently implemented our standardized side hop test among ACL injured individuals and found muscle activation patterns with stiffer landings for those who reported higher fear of re-injury compared to those who reported no or low fear and to asymptomatic controls. Our findings constitute a bridge between functional movement biomechanics and psychological consequences of an ACL injury. Moreover, our research, and that by others, indicates that ACL injury does not only affect the musculoskeletal system and mechanical knee stability, but also damages sensory receptors in the ligament. This has impacts on the central nervous system, leading to reduced proprioceptive acuity and thereby impaired sensorimotor joint control. Such deficits, particularly of the contralateral non-injured leg, suggest altered central sensorimotor processes following ACL injury, probably contributing to the 30 to 40 times higher risk of re-injury compared to non-injured persons. We have refined several proprioceptive tests as well as developed a new functional whole-body obstacle clearance test which targets sensorimotor control where proprioception of the knee plays a major role. The test involves stepping over obstacles at various heights with downward vision occluded and is designed to be eventually applied in clinics. We found that individuals with ACL injury stepped over the obstacle with more stereotypical and asymmetrical movement patterns compared to asymptomatic controls, suggesting a decreased ability to adapt their movements to challenging situations in real-life conditions. In ongoing research, we have successfully combined 3D motion analysis with simultaneous brain imaging using both fMRI and EEG to map brain activity associated with motor control. Using fMRI, we are the first to have correlated activity in specific brain regions with errors in knee angle reproduction as a measure of proprioceptive acuity. Our research thus indicates a trade-off between dynamic knee stability and performance after ACL injury. Training interventions to improve sensorimotor control that can reduce injury risk following rehabilitation and among non-injured sports people to avoid injury in the first place are needed. We plan to take the next steps towards this by developing and evaluating new advanced methods of motor learning that can be individualized to effectively reduce the currently high risk of ACL injury.